right, let's make a show. Let's give the people what they want. Entertainment. Uh,
I don't know how entertaining I'll be, but
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Verdigris Table. I am Ryan Doyle, and joining me here today, we are all very excited. Judd from Short Rest Studios. What's up, man?
what's up, man? How are you doing today? I'm
I,
excited to
I'm
be
doing
here.
I'm doing pretty awesome. Yeah, I'm happy to have you here. You feeling good? You feeling ready?
Yeah, yeah, man. I've got the requisite cup of coffee here in my
Yes.
12-year-old Pike Place Market Starbucks mug.
Oh, is
Um,
that like OG from Pike Place?
yes, yeah. I went
Oh,
there 12 years ago. I don't travel much anymore, but there we go.
nice. Yeah, Seattle's a
Back when I
beautiful
used to have
town.
money.
There's a lot.
It
I mean,
is.
obviously, that's where Wizards of the Coast, well, they're outside of it, but like Seattle's
Yeah,
a cool place if you catch it in the right time.
yeah, yeah. It is. It is. We went. It was springtime and it was not rainy. It was actually just beautiful and sunny and it was gorgeous, man. Yeah, and it's a lot of fun to hang out there. A lot of neat stuff. Get to watch people throw fish at Pike Place Market. And, yeah. all the touristy garbage. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
but
good though.
yeah,
It's a
it's a
cool
neat
town.
town. It is.
Yeah, people from
I'd love
Seattle
to go
don't
back.
want you to know that it isn't always raining there because they want us to stay
Right,
away so they can enjoy it for themselves,
right.
which I respect.
Yeah. Well, so it's funny because I live in North Texas now. I used to live in Houston for a long time, and Houston actually gets way more rain than Seattle does. It's just apparently always drizzly in Seattle, but in Houston we have what we call frog stranglers. So I don't know. Yeah,
Well,
when it rains,
Houston just got hit.
oh yeah, oh yeah,
Houston's in
yeah,
trouble right
yeah,
now. Yeah,
yeah, and I think we've got family down there, and there's still, I think everybody's got power back at this point.
that's good.
Yeah,
That's good. Yeah, I know Mr. Welsh Glenn, we were gonna sit down and I think he's outside of Houston, but he's like, I don't have internet or electricity. He's like,
yeah,
figure out your stuff. We'll get back to this game show
yeah,
when
right, yeah,
life is settled.
yeah. Yeah, the only thing I have to worry about around here is tornadoes.
There you go. Yeah. Um, North Texas, man. All right. So I'm gonna ask you. Well, first off, I'm gonna ask you where people can find you on the internet and what are they gonna find when they go looking there?
So, Short Rest Studios, my YouTube channel, I talk about all kinds of tabletop role-playing game stuff. Talk about some, I review like 3D printed miniatures, games, all kinds of stuff. Talk about D&D. Try to talk about some other games too. Um, I'm on all the social channels, Facebook, Instagram. I think I'm on TikTok. I don't post there as much as I used to, but I'm still on there. Twitter, on X, whatever the heck it's called now. I'm on all of those channels. And I have a shop on my website, shortreststudios.com, where I sell like some game accessories, miniatures, terrain, stuff like that. So, yeah,
Awesome. The full
that's all the
package.
stuff. Yeah. Yeah. I'm a little busy.
Well, I appreciate you sharing your time with us.
Yeah, man. I'm
Uh,
excited.
I see recently, is it in the shot? Yeah, it is in the shot. Recently, you've been diving into Dungeon Crawl Classics,
Yeah.
and you took one of my, if not my favorite part from it, and translated it into more of a fifth edition mindset of like the level zero character funnel.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that was actually probably one of my favorite videos I've done. I don't usually get that deep into like the instructional type of gaming video, but I dug that one and I dug deep into it. It was a lot of fun to do, and man, the level zero funnel is so much fun. And I think for some people who play D&D 5e, it's probably not necessarily their bag,
Mm.
but if you're cool with the constant threat of death and the just the mayhem of having that many characters playing at one time, I think it's a load of fun, and it's really fun for a game master because generally you don't want to kill your players. I mean, if you're a good game master, you don't want to kill your players, but uh, it's just going to happen in a zero level funnel, and that's kind of the point. So yeah, yeah, it was a lot of fun, and yeah, please check out that video. I would really appreciate it. And I've other videos on Dungeon Crawl Classics and a lot of other stuff. I talked about Dragonbane recently, which is a
Mm.
cool game. Yeah, um, yeah, tons of stuff like that. I wanted to do something on Shadow Dark. That's what I'm looking at next, I think. uh, or
She
other
just
games.
released Solo Dark, which I think is going to get her
Yes.
some more traction too. Not
Yeah.
mentioning, I mean,
Yeah.
Kelsey Dion, very successful,
Yeah.
rightfully earned. Check out her 5e adventures. Check out Shadow Dark.
Yeah. Absolutely. And also one of the nicest people I've ever met.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
yeah, I met her at a convention recently, and she's just like just a super nice person, but and a great fun game. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been really nice. So we're a little ways out from Kraken Week now.
Yeah.
You did a cool video on monsters. But that was just it's really I mean half the reason I do this show is it's just very reaffirming to like connect with everybody in this
Yeah.
community. Everybody's awesome. Everyone's in their own little like rabbit hole doing their own like cool stuff. It's just it's great to connect to people. And everybody's nice,
Yeah.
chill.
Yeah. 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 Is this really I really only recently had the opportunity to really kind of get involved with the wider TTRPG YouTube community, and I've been really pleased at just how nice everybody's been. And and I go like to a lot of conventions because I sell stuff, so I vend at a lot of conventions, but I try to make sure that I don't just man the table all day and get out and play some games and stuff. But and just the whole community, man, like you I don't know if you want to go here, but I see so much negative stuff. I mean, you see negative stuff online everywhere, but I see so much negative stuff online uh, in the TTRPG community, especially sometimes around D&D and WotC. But but it's really I've never had that kind of experience in the community outside of comment threads on random social media.
There's a lot of people who maybe aren't playing the game that much and are
Yeah,
frustrated about it on the
yeah.
internet yelling about
but
things. I
but
think it's
everybody I've interacted with personally, through the YouTube community and at conventions, I mean, they're just really nice people and just want to have fun, And that's where I'm at. Like that's the reason that I have my YouTube channel and all of this other stuff is just it's about fun and having fun in community with other people. And for me, that's what the whole hobby's about, honestly.
yeah, that's
And
what's
it's
up.
been great.
Yeah, I'm happy to go there. I think it's worth acknowledging there are small but very vocal gatekeepery stuff, and there's
Yeah.
it's 2024 and it's an American business. Like there's some corporate interests that are not doing things for the most amount of fun, but for the most amount of profit. Like we can
Yeah.
talk about that stuff, but it becomes such the focus so quickly, especially
Yeah.
whatever, because
Yeah.
the algorithm thrives on it. But
It does.
yeah,
It does. And I talk about that stuff sometimes, but I almost feel like when I do, I try to be more the voice of reason and not so much this is the next big scandal.
yes. Yeah,
Uh,
and I respect it. I mean, you like clearly watching the channel for 2 minutes, you are clearly like focused on that like community building, positivity, like it shines through every video.
well,
And I'm happy to be talking
that's
to you.
good to hear, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I
Because
see it.
you never know how you don't always know how you come across. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I feel that. All right, let's have some fun. Give me a
Yeah.
D20 and we're gonna play D20 questions here. Roll them dice.
Sweet. All right. That's a 13, baby.
13. All right, there are no good
Is it
or
okay if I
bad.
call you baby? Is that all right?
I'm into it. That's my thing. What is on your Dungeon Master screen or in your DM kit? What are your tricks of the trade over there?
Oh gosh. So my screen is really just to hide everything that I'm doing.
Mhm.
I don't have I don't the notes that I keep on the back of my screen. So I have one of these really a couple of years ago. My wife got me for Christmas. It was unfortunately Dogmite Games wood, nice beautiful wood DM screen, and it's got these little acrylic panels that you can write on and stuff. And so
Mhm.
I take very specific notes on what's happening, at the table at that moment. So um, there's not like a set of stuff that I keep there. I mean, I keep my minis available behind the screen. I generally like to play pen and paper. I think like I've gone back and forth, like using different technology and stuff, but I feel like my brain just works better when I use a notebook, and so all of my notes are in a notebook. And really and truly, if I'm running, let's say I'm running a published a published adventure. Like right now, I'm running the oh my gosh, I just forgot the name of it. Phandelver and Below the Shattered Obelisk
Oh,
with a
so
group.
yeah, I'm running that on one of my tables. I
Yeah.
enjoy it. That
Oh yeah.
took a lot of heat, but that's way better than most people.
It's really good. And
Yeah.
like and honestly, like I did a video on it before, right just before it came out, and that's one of my most popular videos. But I really am enjoying it. I think it's a cool twist on the original adventure from Lost Mine of Phandelver. But so I'm running that, and basically I have the book handy. I like to use the book if for for box text and stuff like that. But basically, the only thing I write down is I have the book there with the box text and the maps, and then I write down like monsters and their AC and their hit points, and
Mm.
if there's anything that I can't remember about, that's really all the notes I keep. Like I don't because I like to fly by the seat of my pants. I'm actually, when it comes to DM, I'm pretty loosey goosey style. So, I'm not like a rules lawyer,
Mhm.
I don't know if I even answered the question, but that's basically what I use, and I love minis and maps and all that stuff. So I hand draw maps on a big mat, and I play with my little minis that I paint. I love
Love
that
it.
stuff. That's
Love it.
half the reason I play the games.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so I have an online game with friends from all over the country, which is nice because we can't get together, which we're working on it, but we
Yeah,
can't get together
yeah,
every Wednesday night. And I
right.
have the in-person game, and I like having there's things you can do online that you can't do in person, but there's nothing like sitting around a table face to face with people. I run a pretty lo-fi get like I have the old
Yeah.
school the vinyl mat with the wet erase markers and yeah,
Yep.
I'm a less
Yep.
is more kind of guy
Yeah.
for
Well, I mean,
D&D.
I like all the accessories, but I
Mhm.
like the physical stuff, and like I've played online a few times, and I'm honestly like I can see the appeal, and I can, especially when you've got friends you want to play with who are far away and you can't get together with. I think that's awesome. I hate it. I hate playing online. Like I really, especially as a DM, like I just already feel like I have so much stuff I have to keep up with, and then I got to keep up with Roll20 or whatever too.
Yeah, I run a pretty lo-fi online game. Like we use Owlbear
Yeah.
Rodeo.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
updated it to make it better. There's like a lot more features now, and I don't like it. Like if I want the
Yeah.
minimum amount of like a viable product.
Yeah, but you
Um,
can still use the old version, right? It's
mhm,
still out. Yeah,
mhm.
yeah, yeah. I haven't. I've played really my only online games that I played were on Roll20, just because I played in a game on Roll20 one time, and then I was like, I'm gonna try this. I figure I should probably get used to playing online, but I'm a kind of old school. I mean, I'm older than I look, so I think I hope I'm older than I look. Um, but yeah,
All right.
I started playing AD&D when I was in high school. So like first like original AD&D. So and it was, I think second edition was out, but my
Mm.
friends had the first edition AD&D, and that's what we played. And then I played some in college and stuff too. And I got out of it for a long time. And then I don't know, it was probably a few years ago really that I really got back into it and started playing again. So, uh, and it was the creativity. Like I was looking for a creative outlet, and and a way to have fun with friends, and I happened upon a D&D starter set at Half Price Books,
Mm.
and yeah, the rest is history.
I love that because yeah, D&D is what you want it to be. It's
Yeah.
17 games held together with duct tape and bubble gum. So like
Yes.
if
Yes.
you like the physical stuff, you want to get creative with like the terrain and the minis, you
Hmm.
want to 3D print, you want to paint,
Hmm.
or you want to world build, you want to
Yeah.
build characters and story arcs.
And I want to
And
do all of those things.
I'll be saying that's what I'm gonna get all of the above, please. Give me the sampler.
Yes. Yes.
And it's also like the key to my social life as an adult. Like
Right.
if it's not on the schedule, it's not gonna happen. So like game night happening every
Right.
week is the reason I hang out with my friends every week. A lot of people
Yeah.
can't say that right now. So it's a
Yeah.
good staple in my diet of
Yeah.
social interaction.
And it is, oh my gosh, I'm drinking my coffee too fast. It is like, I mean, it's hard. Like, you have a full-time job and you have, I mean, I'm married. I got two kids. It gets difficult sometimes to maintain that social life. Um, it's getting a little easier now because my kids are a little older, and they're my wife likes to say now they're self-cleaning. Um, but my kids are teenagers now. But another cool thing about that is one of my daughters plays in my semi-regular D&D game that I play with friends here at the house. We try to get together once a month. It doesn't always work. But yeah, my daughter plays with us and my wife plays with us as well. So it's nice that I can kind of have that time with them and with my friends and just hanging out. I mean, and then really it's about, we're rolling some dice, we're doing fun stuff, we're laughing a lot, we eat some food. I mean, it's an excuse to have fun together and be creative together, and just hang out. But and then it's a great way. Like on my every other Monday night, I'm running this Fandelver game, and I'm playing it tonight, and it's with a bunch of new guys. Like there's one guy there that I know, and the rest of them are new people that I just met. So that's cool too. Making new friends and finding other people who are interested in the stuff you're interested in and like to have the same kind of fun you like to have. I mean, that's to me that's really what it's about.
Absolutely. And it gets tricky to find, especially as an adult, right? Like that Parks and Rec meme where like I don't know how to make friends as an adult, and at this point I'm afraid to ask.
Yes.
As like
Yeah.
you moved recently, I've moved, I don't even know, 4 times in 5 years or something. So
Yeah.
like
Well,
establish a social circle where you don't know folks. Um
yeah.
Start a
Well,
game.
and so this might, wow. Okay. We'll get into the personal life a little bit. So I've been like my social life, I've been in ministry for like 20 years. So I'm a worship leader. So I play music in church. Uh, but my social life kind of and my work life kind of were just all together. So that was my whole social circle. And then what happens when you change jobs in there is that your social circle now changes.
Hmm.
So D&D has helped me to maintain some friendships that, I mean, and I close friends that hopefully I would have worked to maintain those friendships with anyway, but it's really helped me have an excuse and a reason to maintain those friendships, which is really, really cool.
Exactly. I love to hear that. And that's so undervalued, right? There's so many
Mm,
videos about like how to make combat slightly faster, but it's just like,
right.
yeah, how
Well,
to
that's important. That's important though, because
absolutely. But I do, I do maybe too much try to focus on like,
Mhm.
yeah, this is a way for you to sit down with your friends and your family and have
Yeah.
a good time
Yeah. A-
regularly, and let's
And I
not lose
think
sight of
for
that.
I think for most of us, that's kind of one of the driving factors. I mean, obviously I think the fantasy aspect of it is obviously one of those driving factors. Just the imagination, playing games. I mean,
Mhm.
people just enjoy playing games, but I do think that social aspect for a lot of us is really important. I think for some people it's not,
Mm.
um, and you can tell who those people are. I don't want to
Yeah,
make anybody mad.
yeah.
That's
No, we
not
can do
that's not
that.
my vibe.
Let's get engagement. No, okay. Yeah, I think some people miss the point a
Yeah,
little bit. And again, it's
yeah,
17 things grouped together, and like
right,
there's like
right,
I've been in very crunchy tactical war gamey stuff. I've been in like we haven't touched the dice in 3 hours because we're role playing the story. I love
yeah,
it all, but the communal, collaborative,
hmm,
creative aspect of it is what
yeah,
makes TTRPGs in general different from a video game, a computer game,
yeah,
a board
yeah,
game. Most board games. I mean, there's some cool board games out there, but that's the secret sauce. That's the juice that
yeah,
can get
absolutely.
lost when you don't realize that like you're not trying to win this game.
Yeah. Well,
You're
and
not
I
trying to
think,
be
and
the
I, yeah,
best.
I think some people do try to win it, and I think for some people the rules become, and I think it's a personality type. The rules kind of become the thing that's important. Um, but the rules really aren't the most important thing. I mean, if you read the rules, you kind of get that idea from them, that the rules are what you make of them as the DM.
Yeah, and I have a
And I
pet theory that those people haven't spent a lot of time behind the dungeon master screen. Those people have
yeah,
a partial view of things as a player
yeah,
and haven't seen through the code.
yeah, yeah, because how many do you really think your DM remembers all those rules? The
That's yeah,
player the player's handbook's over 300 pages long. Do you think he remembers all that stuff?
yeah. It's there to facilitate an experience, not to
It's just
become the point.
exactly.
I'm in the middle of scripting this video. Like it's um yeah, I can talk about that for hours. But before we start getting too far down that rabbit hole and getting
Yeah.
alienating people, let's which is fine. I
We
mean,
love you. Listen, we love all of you. Min maxers, rules lawyers. We love you. You're all part of the hobby. You're great.
I mean, I'm here for it. It's just it's not
Yeah.
it's the whole thing. Like I mean,
Yeah.
I the variety appeals to me, so I see
Yeah.
the value in everything. But like some people pick their one thing and that's
Uh,
their entire thing.
yeah. Yeah.
Loosen up, spread out a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, let's spread out on the Game Master's Compendium of Explosive Creation. Let's do some
You gonna
stuff.
put an explosion effect
Boom.
in there?
Yeah, they have a insert right here. I have a little cheesy commercial thing. I legit have an explosion. It's great.
I love this cover, man. The cover is really super cool.
Thank you. I picked it out. I get no credit for the artistic side of things. But yeah, so I found this and this guy. And that really like solidified like the explosive part of it
Hmm.
all for me. I
Yeah.
was like, yes, this is the vibe because I want you to feel comfortable burning your world down or letting your
Yeah.
players burn the world down because you're pumped about making new stuff. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I wanted the whole process to be fun. So there's a player facing side of this, there's a game master side of this. We're gonna run through both.
Okay.
It all revolves around archetypes. So it's essentially background. So first, I'm going to ask you to
Hmm.
roll a D100 unless something is like leaping off this table at you because you are allowed to choose one.
I have like 7,000 10-sided dice in here. Where's my, oh my gosh. Okay, this set of dice I'm looking at, they all look so similar. Like the color is like it's hard to tell which one's which. All right, so that's 89. Where did I roll?
89. It's going to give us a
A
spy.
spy.
Happy with
Cool.
that?
Yes, sir.
Cool.
I'm happy with anything.
I like it.
I love like this is the zero level funnel video that I just did. I go through the whole character creation process for it, and this like my favorite part is rolling a random occupation for the character. I love that.
It it's so good. I look for opportunities to like incorporate
Mm,
backgrounds more. It's like who is your person as a person? Who's your character as a person before they
yeah,
became an adventurer? And the session zero stuff is great because it's like, how did they become an adventurer
right,
slash, so often we get
right.
even at level one, like there's a
And
superhero. It's
like,
like, what
yeah,
is
well,
their
level,
arc?
yeah, exactly. And the level zero thing, I love. I think the character I rolled was a haberdasher, right? So
Mhm.
the items that come with that are like some suits and a pair of scissors. So he goes into a dungeon, his only weapon is a pair of scissors, right?
And that breeds creativity. Like I
Yes,
just thought of 20
yes.
ways I'm gonna make use of these scissors and the suit. Like, let's go.
Or
Um,
when you play that DCC zero level and you get the guy running around with a bunch of chickens, right? He's got chickens. What do you
yeah.
and the chickens go into the dungeon with you. Of course,
War
as a
crimes for war crimes. I'm scared of the guy who's bringing the chickens to the dungeon because it's gonna get ugly real quick.
Mhm.
I've seen it. Okay, I'm gonna ask you to roll one of everything except the D100. So you can do it one at a time if that appeals to or space limitations, but it's more fun to roll a fistful of dice. So 4, 6, 8,
One,
10, 12, 20.
all right. I'm just gonna grab them all.
Yeah, it's good.
All right. Where do you want to start? You want to start with the 20?
I'm going to ask you for the D20. This is going to be our
Okay.
drive, our dream, our aspiration. What's our spy
Okay.
character's motivation here?
That is a 12.
A 12. A
Look at me.
massive.
Okay.
Oh,
I want to tell you, I wear progressive lenses because I'm blind, I guess. But so that's why I'm always looking at the screen like this.
I'm getting there. So I've had glasses forever. I'm just starting to need to not need them for reading. Uh,
Yeah. Amass a personal fortune and retire to a quiet life. That sounds good. Can I do that?
yeah,
Like for
right.
real?
Escape into fantasy.
Yes.
I like that for any character. Yeah, get rich and
Yeah.
retire. Hey players, how's your character going to stop adventuring? Are they going to die, or are you going to wait
Yeah.
for game night to stop happening because of people's schedules, or are they going to walk off into the sunset one day?
Yes.
Those are your options, as far as I know. Um, okay,
All
I
right.
like that for Aspire for anybody. So give
Yeah.
me the D12. Let's
That's
crystallize
an
it a little bit more.
8. That's an
An
8.
8. So this is our call to adventure. Why are we no longer? Well, we could be spying still, but why are we an adventurer now? Assembling an adventure party as a sleeper cell. Ooh. What does that make you? That gave me a bunch of ideas. How's that make you feel?
Oh, I like that. So what are we? I guess we have to know what's going on in the world around us because why would we be forming a sleeper cell? Are we terrorists? I don't know if I want to go that right because that's what it makes me think of it
Hmm.
immediately, which I don't know that that's a way I want to go, but that's the first thing that pops into my head.
So if we're running an evil campaign, or I mean,
Yeah.
it's a fine line, right? Between
Yeah.
freedom
Yeah.
fighter and
Right.
depends
Yeah.
if you're on team
Yeah.
Matt's team or not.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, personally, I like the idea of freedom fighters, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, that could be cool. Yeah.
yeah, and a lot of this is open ended, so it'll fit into the presumably the game master's world
Right.
or the publisher adventure. I don't want
Right.
this to define the
Right.
campaign. I want this to connect to everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I do like the idea of kind of having an ulterior motive for joining the party.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That can go sideways in the hands of the wrong kind of
Yeah,
player.
because
But
because this guy wants to retire one day, maybe not too far into the future. And so maybe he's got a side deal going on with someone to make a bunch of money. So this, whatever he's putting together this sleeper cell for, is sort of the last big heist, right? His
mm,
last job.
I like it. All right, our D8 is going to give us potential character arc and growth. This is the kind of stuff that I like to see develop at the table, but having a broad concept can kind of help us lean into things.
Okay, I got a 5 on that one.
Diver. From being somebody's game piece to calling the shots.
Okay.
That feels like it clicks into what you were
Mm-hmm.
just kind of
Yeah.
like.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, so someone's been pulling our strings,
Yeah. And we're tired of it.
and we're tired of it.
Yeah. And so we're putting this party together to betray this person.
Mm,
And maybe the person who we have to deal with is their enemy. And maybe to an outsider who doesn't know all the inner workings, this looks like we're attempting to overthrow a tyrant of some sort. But in actuality, we're just trying to get revenge and make some money and get out of the business.
yeah, and I like we're double agent, or maybe a triple agent is what you're describing of
Maybe
you
that's
could.
gonna get we're gonna get really complicated.
Yeah, although I picked spy. That's what I'm here for, right? I'm
Yeah,
not.
yeah,
I
yeah.
wanted court intrigue, but that's not going to happen in this game. So we're gonna make our own. Um, yeah, it does
I like
imply
that.
some sort of there's a patron or some
Hmm.
sort of upper tier that we had some sort of relationship with it. Maybe we're
Yeah.
going back on.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay, so we're gonna cross over the divide here into a little bit more like the world building side of things. So maybe this will crystallize some of this.
Okay.
The D4 is gonna give us a friendly faction.
The D4. I can't read this D4 without picking it up. It's a 3.
Three, the Amber Archives, a private library that grants access to those who contribute to their collections.
Huh. Okay.
So maybe we're
That's
a
interesting.
member, maybe we're chill with these guys. I mean, knowledge is power, an often underlooked power source, at least in fifth
Mm-hmm.
edition.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm not sure what the connection is there.
I like we're going dungeon delving and like
Yeah.
we're in it for the gold, but we find I don't know scrolls,
Yeah.
old codices, and we're like, well, these aren't worth anything to me, but these guys love
Yeah.
this stuff, and they're gonna help me, research the next big score.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there is
Yeah.
something about like you interjected this like kind of like state actor, like the tyrant or something. Like this is a
Yeah.
private library. This isn't the
Right. Well, and I wasn't necessarily thinking like government,
Mhm,
like a ruler, but
mhm,
someone in a position of power
mhm.
like that, whether it's a governmental or like a, you know, maybe like a crime organization or something even,
Mhm.
you know, just someone who we feel did us wrong,
Yeah, because there's
who's in a
always
position of power.
you can multi-class backgrounds too. Right? You can be
Hmm.
like spy criminal. You can be like the one big score. We're trying to take out the crime boss because that's
Yeah.
where all the money is
Yeah.
now. We're not going after the banks. We're going after.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't think in my head I wasn't thinking like a bigger. I don't know, but I don't know. I mean, either one.
Hey man, I'm just along for the ride. This is your
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Well,
your show.
yeah. Huh. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Oh gosh, this one's tough, man. The library thing. Like, I guess it would be. Maybe I like the idea. Maybe not like. Maybe like the mayor of a city, right? Is who we're dealing with. Um, Sort of a city state in if self governed,
Mm,
uh, and he's had some sort of backdoor dealings, right? So he's not the good guy that people have thought he was, and so but he did something personal to me. What would that have been? I don't know. We'll come back to that. And so I want to take my revenge because I don't really care that he's screwing people over, except that he screwed me over, right?
I like
and
I like that.
And so
'Cause-
I'm putting this group of people together to take him down and make some money. So maybe he has something that the folks in the Amber Archives would dearly love to get their hands on. And so it's a private library that grants access to those who contribute to their collections.
Yeah, because collection gives me like almost like museum-y vibes too. It doesn't
Well,
necessarily have
yeah,
to be like
I
a
mean, a
big store.
library is kind of a museum. I mean, they do kind of have uh, a similar role, right? They're preserving knowledge of a certain kind. Um, but perhaps he has some important documents of some kind, scrolls of, yeah, if they would have to be something that they'd have to be something that give him some aspect of his power, right?
Hmm. Yeah,
Because
like
he's guarding
lineages
them.
for like inheriting power
Yeah,
or like yeah,
yeah.
some
Maybe it's like proof of, oh, okay, maybe. Hmm. Yeah, so maybe it's like proof that he's not actually the person who should be in power.
mm, mm.
right? Proof that he's not the heir, but that someone else is. And he's guarding that secret. And so the Amber Archives would love to have that in their hands. And that's where the political intrigue comes in, because there are people who know that he's shouldn't be, or believe that he shouldn't be in power, or don't want him in power because they know what kind of crap he's up to, right?
Mhm.
And so, yeah. And so he has possession of these documents, these historical, lineages or whatever, that prove he's not who he says he is. And for that to be made public would destroy his power base.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
So,
That gives the game master a lot to
yeah,
do, to cook
yeah.
with on their
And
side.
so they would have to be willing to pay me for it, or because I'm not the kind of guy who's just going to give it to him. Right.
I like that side of it.
Except,
That's character
yeah.
development where it's
Yeah.
like I was fine. Like I don't care if this guy's legit or not until he crossed me, and
Right.
now it's personal. Like
Yeah.
that
But I
informs
want these
what I'm
people to
gonna.
pay me for it too.
Yeah,
It's kill two birds with one stone. Right.
exactly. In it for number one, and that's gonna like inform my decisions at the table. Like this is who
Right.
my character is.
Right. Right.
Um, all right, give me D6. We're gonna drill down to an
All right.
NPC, an
All right.
asset, or an ally.
That's a two.
Two, a P, a crafty tinkerer whose inventions are often very useful and only occasionally blow up.
So Q, but
Yeah,
not really.
yeah. You're seeing my references are showing.
Yeah. Crafty tinkerer whose inventions are often very useful and only occasionally blow up. I mean, I don't know where to go with that, except it would be really funny
Yeah, I mean that's
and
all
annoying.
it needs to be sometimes.
Yeah.
I know a guy, right?
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
a guy who sells repeating crossbows. Just don't roll a one. Like,
Right.
yeah, that's fine. It doesn't
Yeah.
all have to be deep, narrative. Well,
Yeah. For
sometimes it's
me,
like,
like that one is more of like, okay, this can come up in the moment. Like, okay, so I know this guy, and we can contact him. Yeah, for me that one is more just like, yeah, we can just let that happen in the moment of the game. Like, I think that's fun.
yeah, because conceptually you'll have, 3, 4, 5 player characters with this much
Right.
development. It all doesn't have to like hit the ground running. It's nice to
Right.
have a weird dude in your back pocket who can cook up, the magic MacGuffin magnet or whatever, whatever the hell.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Speaking of the magic
Yeah.
MacGuffin magnet, give me a D10.
Oh yeah. That's a
Um,
four.
4. So this is a meaningful object magic item. The lens of translation. Any written language viewed through it becomes readable to the user. Pretty classic.
Okay. So if we tied that to sort of the backstory that we're already developing, then the whatever documents this
Mm.
person in charge possesses are would be unreadable to maybe to anybody. Maybe they're written in some kind of secret language, and so we need this to be able to interpret it and prove our suspicions true. Right? That's that's cool. That actually kind of works right into it.
Yeah, I like that a lot because it could. I mean, this column, this little table could be something we have, or
Mm-hmm.
it could be something we that exists in the world and we're trying to get. So like you've created a very clean little like lock and key sort of situation where we need the documents and we're going to need the lens of translation for
Yeah.
these documents to be useful.
So either we have our NPC who sometimes his inventions work. Um, it could be something that he has made, but I kind of like the idea of it being sort of a secondary, not secondary, but the quest we have to complete before we can retrieve the documents, or we retrieve the documents and then while we're being pursued by the bad guy, we're trying to locate this item so that we can actually make use of the documents, right?
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like that idea.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Okay, anything else you want to develop on the character side of this? Or you get a feeling for like a species, a class, anything like that before we switch hats to the game
Mm,
master side of things?
mm. I mean, the class obviously like would lend itself to being a rogue, but is that too on the nose? I mean, what kind of so we're saying it's his background, so that means essentially this person was a spy for the whoever the bad guy is kind
Mm-hmm.
of what we've developed at this point. So I mean, I think it would make the most sense. A rogue would make the most sense because that's who this person already has been. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I don't
because the
mind it.
story, yeah, well, and the story we're developing isn't like, oh, he went straight and now he's doing something else. No, so no, that doesn't seem to be the direction that we've gone at this point. So I would say, yeah, a rogue. What would be a fun kind of rogue?
Well, there's like
Man, yeah. Go ahead, go ahead. Because
no, there's like
I'm so old school. I can't. I'm thinking like I just want to go straight towards the classic stuff. That's what I always do.
which is fine. I mean, I
Yeah,
see
I
so many
know, but
people
I
try to
also
like
want,
reinvent the wheel, and it's
but I
like,
want to
no,
be
there's
a
a
little
reason that the
creative with
classics
it.
are classic. Like,
Right,
and
right.
you're going to differentiate this out as you play. It doesn't just have to be an original idea to start. It's like maybe there's a reason no one's done that before. You've never heard
Yeah,
of it. They
yeah,
tried it, and
yeah,
no one responded to it. But I do. I mean, there's like Mastermind Inquisitor kind of rogues out there. I just
yeah,
like Arcane Tricksters. That's my bias. Like, give me that little dash.
yeah.
Give me a thief that has mage hand. Like,
Right, yeah, yeah. And I mean, there's a reason halflings work as well as rogues. Like
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and elves too. Um, yeah, man, I just really like. I'd kind of like to go. I think it would be kind of cool to be a little classic and go with like the dark elf rogue. Like nobody's going to trust this guy anyway, and he's not usually the person who is in the public eye, right? Like he operates fully in the shadows,
I
and
like
that's why. And this is kind of a big deal because this is going to require this person to kind of move out of the shadows a bit, right?
yeah, that,
As someone who's been in the background and has been that game piece that's manipulated by someone else in power and now is going to be calling the shots, so he has to step out of the shadows a bit, contrary to his maybe what he really how he wants to be, how he wants to live, contrary to his normal bent, right? I kind of like that idea.
yeah, and that's to me that feels like it slots in really well with the is just out for themselves because no one else
Mm-hmm.
is going to be right, like
Mm-hmm.
the outsider,
Yeah,
the drow that
yeah,
everyone assumes is evil, so they might as well
yeah.
be because they
Right, right.
can't
Very
being
Drist.
good isn't an option for them. um and like that sleeper cell thing that was kind of like sticky, like the idea of like, okay,
Yeah,
for once, like I'm going to join a party, like I'm the the lone
yeah,
wolf operator,
yeah,
whatever, in the shadows. Like I need a group. I need a face.
yeah.
And a
And
meat shield
so
would be nice.
and so working in this group is going to be really hard for this person,
Hmm.
right? Because they're used to being on their own. Yeah. Even calling the shots, you're going to realize that you have responsibilities to these other people, and that's going to be new for him.
Yeah, that's a nice wrinkle too. Because so often you get like the lone wolf who's like, I know everything, but like the idea of like, oh, now I am making choices here for the first time in forever.
Hmm.
And those choices have consequences, and like struggling with that.
Yeah. And even just coming to like I'm thinking about it in terms of like this person's gonna do stuff for himself,
Hmm.
like in the context of being with this party, which yeah, you have to be careful with as a player, um, but he's going to make choices for himself, and that's going to ruffle feathers with the other people that he's trying to get to cooperate with him, right? Because I'm envisioning this like as not necessarily being a group of people that wants to be together. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like
Or at least
they're
we
being
or at
pulled.
least we don't. And also like at first, right? Too.
Yeah,
That can also like the change over
right,
time. You know, somebody
right,
saves your life a couple
exactly.
times, you start to look at them different.
Exactly, exactly. But this is probably going to be a group of people who are used to kind of doing their own thing,
Yeah.
right? So that you got to work through that,
I like that a lot.
which sometimes works really well in a story, but it's harder to unless you have some really good players, really good role players. You got to have really good role players to make that work. Yeah,
and trust at the table too. You can
yeah,
have
yeah,
five people who are awesome and don't know each other trip over something like this.
yeah. So
There's a right way and a
incidentally, I
wrong.
think
I've seen I'm run like my Fandelver campaign is basically an evil campaign at this point, and like it's guys I've been running with for a long time, and especially as a game master, you know, once I in the beginning I was like, everyone's cool with this, like we're flirting with this is like PvP at this point, but like
yeah,
everyone's on board, and now it stings. It's a great story of a bunch of
yeah,
despicable jerks trying to save the world because they're part of the world. But you got to there's a wrong way to do that. There's a wrong way to do it.
right, yeah,
It's all over
yeah.
TTRPG horror stories.
Oh yeah. I think the most important thing is just you know maintaining relationships right there, right? Like you
Yes.
like let people know, hey, yeah, there's a way to work. Yeah, you're right. There's a way to work with that and make it work well, and still respect the other players at the table.
Okay, there's another side to this when we're at 52 minutes. You got time? You want to do the rest? Or we can
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can close out from here too if you want.
No, let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay, so we're gonna turn the page. We're gonna switch over to the game master side of things. I'm gonna ask you to roll 4d6, as is tradition.
As
And again,
is
you can do it one at a
tradition.
time if that's better for you.
Oh no, I'm just gonna dig out. I only have one over here, so oh gosh.
There's no there's no good or bad. The magic item was the one thing.
Yeah. Okay.
That high number better. But our first D6 is going to give us our antagonistic organization, a faction
Okay.
that what do you got?
I got a one on the
Oh,
first one. Yeah.
okay, that was my guess, but I thought you said
Yeah.
60.
I got two ones out of that.
um okay, well here we go. The King's counterintelligence clandestinely spread disinformation and plant false rumors.
Yeah, like maybe that's the organization we were part of.
Hmm.
Yeah. I like that. That works really well.
Yeah, and you know,
Well,
season to taste if the king doesn't make sense, and it's the mayor, it's the
right.
town master, it's the
Right.
Burgermeister, whatever, like however you want to
uh,
flavor it.
oh
Uh,
my gosh, man. I was in a Curse of Strahd game a couple of years ago, and yeah, there were so many jokes about that guy making burgers. Like he makes
oh,
really
it's
good
right,
burgers.
it's
Yeah.
right there. Shout out to
Yeah.
my friends in Germany, but
Yeah. Yeah, Americans, man, we're so uncouth. We are.
hey,
All right.
Dungeon Masters, one German thing that is fun as hell, a Ratskeller, is like so it's like a bar now. If you see a sign that says Ratskeller, it's almost definitely a bar. But it's like rat cellar. So first of all, that's
Uh-huh.
classic D&D trope. But that also it was like the secret club where like the mayor and like the guys with the cigars would make decisions. Uh,
Yeah.
back in
Yeah.
the whatever day, I don't even know.
Yeah. So we need one of those in this game. Yeah.
Dragged and dropped. We got a Ratskeller now.
Yeah.
All right, the next
All
D6
right.
is going to give us an NPC.
Another one.
Another one, Fox Blacklock,
Blacklock.
a lackluster spy. Since everyone knows about his favorite cocktail and promiscuity, you're getting all the James Bond references on these folks.
Oh my gosh. Shaken, not stirred. All right. So who is he going to be? Is he?
So he's a right. So he's not necessarily the BBEG. He could be. He could rise to that, especially
Right.
based on what happens
Yeah.
with the players' choices and all. But I like the idea of like
Yeah.
just we have arrived like this a coworker that we don't like
Hmm.
who's just like he's
Yeah.
in the rat skeller half the time we go there
Yeah.
talking trash.
And we probably have to play him to get to what we want. You know what I mean? And he's not like, if you think about it in terms of James Bond, like James Bond is a terrible spy.
Right.
Okay. But he's not a slouch, right? He's not like he's going to be a challenge if you have to fight him or anything like that. Like he's a bad dude. So this is not like maybe espionage isn't the top of his skill list, but he's not somebody you should just disregard as a challenge.
I like that a lot, especially like I'm getting like new like Daniel Craig. Like this dude will brawl. He will chase you
Yeah,
for hours and beat you
yeah,
to a pulp.
yeah.
Um,
And he has a license to kill.
yeah, and he's into it. And he wants you to know, so you think he's cool.
Yes,
Like I
yes,
just like
yes.
as he'd be a fun NPC to role play too. Just like yeah, great.
Yeah, to
Um,
go and yeah, you would. I'd go totally James Bond with this guy. He's dressed to the nines. He's very suave and sophisticated. I probably couldn't play that because I'm not those things, but
role play. Um, just a couple little hints, and people pick up. Again, that's why we don't reinvent the
yeah,
wheel. You can lean into
yeah,
tropes, and then people fill in the blanks for you.
yeah, man, yeah. All right,
Uh, all right,
next one is a
D6
5.
5. The bolt hole burrows, network of tunnels and hidey holes interlaced throughout
Ooh,
an urban environment.
I
Bolt
like
hole
that.
burrows, yeah.
I like that. That gives us because first of all, if my character's a drow, then he's sunlight's going to be an issue.
Hmm.
So maybe hanging out in this place a lot and using it to get everywhere, to get anywhere in the city that we need to go. Maybe as a hideout, although is it? I'm going to think it's maybe the kind of thing that everybody doesn't know about. But the thing is that the spy network probably knows a lot about it, you know? So probably not the best place to hide out, but it's a good, yeah.
Yeah,
So if
it's
the
more like
so that means if the spy network knows about it, then it's probably not a good place for us to be. But we have to make use of it for some reason.
yeah, because it's like yeah, you just made it from like the downtime activity to the battle map of
Yeah.
like we might run into anybody down there because
Yeah.
it's not just we know about it because we used to work there and it's transportation. It's like fast travel
Mm-hmm.
essentially, but
Mm-hmm.
like well, if Blacklock might be down there or like anybody else beyond
Yeah.
whatever giant rats and centipedes and who knows what.
I mean, you could probably use it to get around until they figure out what you're up to.
Mm.
And then it becomes a liability, but maybe a liability that you still have to try to make use of for some reason.
Yeah, I like it because maybe that's our way into the Ratskeller or whatever, where we're
Yeah,
trying. Where,
it's probably there. It's probably there. And yeah, and maybe even what we're looking for is only accessible by going through there. I don't know.
potentially down there, potentially somewhere else. The final D6
It's
is going
probably
to get
maybe
some
somewhere else, but like yeah. I don't know. This one I'm kind of I'm honestly I'm struggling with this one a little bit. Like
Well,
I
I
think
like the
it's
idea of like
cool.
the connectivity because you can like
Yeah.
you need if you're building a big dungeon, especially like towards like higher levels of play, you need
Hmm.
a transition between floors, even if it's not just a clean floor. Like we need to pass through this to get to
Right.
what the
Right.
presidential palace or I don't know the big brawl in the library or whatever else it may be. Or again,
Yeah.
it could tie into somebody else's story or the content that we were already
Hmm.
planning to run as the
Hmm.
game master, where it's like this set of tunnels in the Underdark that were going to lead to the dungeon anyway. Now we can like almost reskin them to be like,
Yeah.
you know the way into this place because you're part of this spy network.
Yeah. But they know, and that's the thing. Like I almost feel like we would get to a point in the story where they have to know what I'm up to.
Hmm.
And so it becomes a challenge, not just, we can't just travel through this unnoticed, right? So it becomes a challenge at some point. I like that idea because then that gives you a great reason to throw a whole bunch of stuff at people in this dungeon and make it feel like a really old school dungeon crawl.
And I love the idea of like returning to places, and it's
Yeah,
so hard to pull off. Like you can like restock places,
yeah,
and sometimes that works out really well. But the idea of like you have free passage through this like labyrinthine place that connects these two locations at first, right? So
yeah,
you know every room of this place,
yeah,
but you don't know what's going to be waiting for you this time now that your
yeah.
cover has been blown there onto you.
Right. And in the early stages, well, it depends on how familiar we are with it. Like you could almost make it like a puzzle to get
Mm,
through. You know
mm.
what I mean? That could be kind of fun. Anyway, okay.
Yeah, no, I like that. Yeah, because it does kind of imply like a maze, like
Hmm.
network of tunnels and
Yeah,
hidey holes. Yeah, so like you go to the place, the first time you go to the place, it's just a question, like going through it is a challenge in and of itself.
yeah,
Right? It's just like solve this maze, which is so I've seen good and bad versions of that. But then like
right.
you have that solved. Okay, now this time you've already solved this maze, but now everyone in it hates you.
Yes, yeah.
What are we
There's a bunch of monsters in here, and they're trying to kill you because they know what you're doing.
Speaking of monsters, give me that last D6. That's gonna give
Oh
us
yeah,
a
4.
thematic monster. Four, Truth Sniffer. Fierce hounds used to detect deceit thanks to their acute sense of smell.
Oh yeah, and they're always around that spy network.
Mm-hmm.
So the bad guy has one. So they would just use them, right? They would just use them as regular tools, like they're always around.
Yeah, I like this. Like, I've got a dire wolf that has Zone of Truth up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that makes it that much more difficult
Because I do,
to do your job, to do what you're trying to do. Yeah.
and it is that old school kind of like, all right, take it from the character level to the player level of like, you're great at intimidation. You're a
Hmm.
spy, you're or deception, right? I built a
Hmm.
spy character. I got a I got a +9 in deception. I've been rolling hot all night. That's like, well, this guy's got zone of truth up. So you actually if you lie, this dog is gonna bark, he's gonna know. So what do you say? And now it's the
Yeah.
answer's no longer on the character sheet. Now it's like, okay,
It's
how do I bend to the truth? How do I not lie and still not tell this guy whatever?
it just you just made me think of Knives Out.
Mm, yeah,
The
exactly. And that's
girl
what I'm.
the girl pukes every time she lies.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, it's that James Bond plus goofiness, like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
peak D&D for me.
Mm.
All right. Last stop on our tour is a D20, the
All right.
swingiest of dice. So this is a plot hook, a story seed, an adventure idea. Maybe it's got nothing to do with what we talked about. Maybe it crystallizes everything.
Can you see that?
Did he
I
get
don't know.
there?
I rolled a 20. I can't.
Yeah, judging by
It's
your face, I think it was a crit. All right. The minions will keep wreaking havoc until someone infiltrates the big bad's secret lair and dispatches them. Minions will keep wreaking havoc until someone infiltrates the big bad's secret lair and dispatches them. They're pretty classic. We could do anything with that.
yeah. Yeah.
Well, the big bad's the Burgermeister.
Right. Or whatever. Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and nothing keeps the people voting for the incumbent like outside threats, right? Maybe that's what's going on
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Maybe he's yeah, he's having these guys go out and commit crimes or, and like just despicable stuff, not like, breaking and entering, but like uh
Yeah, because that's what we do, and we're the good guys.
right. Right. But like really horrible things um and then framing people
Mm.
for those crimes. Maybe that's what he did to us. Maybe that's what he did to my character. that he has these minions who keep going out and doing these things and making it look like, yeah, framing us for crimes, framed for a crime he didn't commit.
I mean, that's hard to beat.
Yeah. Hey, it's a good character motivation, right? Like you want to, especially for somebody who uh is all about themselves. Like that's enough to make them want to take down somebody in power who's a bad guy.
Yeah, and I like the idea that like things were going just fine because like you used to be the guy keeping
Yeah.
everything, keeping the trains running on time, keeping everything, keeping him in power, and now all of a sudden like he's bringing in these monsters. They're not, especially as like a drow to me is always a little like haughty, right? Like
Hmm.
so
Yeah.
now to be at the same level as whatever, insert these goblins, whatever it may be, um, is already in a front, and now you get yeah, you're associated with them one way or another. Maybe it was on purpose, maybe it was an accident, but now it's like, all right, it's on. I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah.
Let's go.
But what would be so where would be the motivation? Like they would have had to have done something. The character would have had to have done something it to, if we're going with this idea that he's kind of the right hand man, the character would have to have done something to lead the BBEG to want to frame him. Like this was already a practice we're well aware of. You know what I mean? Like he
Yeah.
does this to
Yeah.
people all the time, but why would he want to do it to us?
We're trying to get rich and retire. Maybe we got caught with our hand in the cookie jar, you know?
Yeah. 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 That's probably it. I mean, that makes the most sense.
I like it.
Shouldn't have done
I want to watch the Knives Out version of this movie at the least. I
that.
definitely want to play this game.
This is
Uh,
cool, man. I really like this, dude. Like this is such a great just brainstorming tool for creation. Like it's great. I love it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's why I built it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the idea is like if
Yeah.
you come to me with a spy character, like this is gonna it's the kind of adventure that you got built-in buy-in, or as
Yeah.
close as you can get to built-in buy-in. Like
Yeah.
this character is integrated with, yeah, this the adventure we're gonna run now.
So do you envision this kind of, and like I haven't had a chance to look through the book yet. I mean, I looked through it a little bit, but
Mhm.
as being something you could use, like I'm almost seeing it as something you'd use session zero. Like let's do this together. Like sitting down with the players at the table and kind of going through these things together, maybe having them roll their stuff and and all of that, but and actually kind of creating the backstories and building the world. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
I I think that could be.
that's how I play tested it.
Yeah. Okay.
Mostly
Okay.
session zero. And that seems to be the most obvious application. I actually built
Yeah.
it with more like adaptation in mind, especially this the second page of all the spreads of like
Hmm.
I am running whatever Shattered Obelisk, right? Like,
Yeah.
and then go shopping for at least the plot hooks. Like, what's the what makes sense in the story I'm telling that's going to
Hmm.
appeal to the what
Hmm.
the player has brought, right? So like, you already have an idea. Like, especially my Shattered Obelisk campaign, we started at level 5. Right, we've already
Yeah.
run through Lost Mine of Phandelver. It's a different group of characters, so I'm not like using their the history that the group had, but we're coming in hitting the ground running. People have character concepts. How am I going to replace some NPCs or like overlay some NPCs with people that make sense with their backstories?
Yeah.
And I've tried to make it as open-ended as possible because like I love people take this and use it however you like, right?
Yeah.
Like use it for
Yeah.
things that I didn't imagine in the first place.
Sure. Yeah. 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 I'm very like I love to, like I love the things to happen randomly,
Mhm.
like all the time. Like so there are times when I'm like, maybe I should just not plan what's going to happen. I just have a very vague idea, and then just go in and let everything happen randomly. Let the players choose stuff. And my group at home here, I actually just built like this whole random, just totally random dungeon. Like I drew up kind of a map, and then and then just rolled on some random tables. And whatever happens, happens. I mean, there's an overall story, but like I really love as a game master, I love stuff like that because I feel like I don't know what's going to happen, and it takes away uh it sort of takes away my desire to push people in a certain direction, you know. Like I can't wait to see how they respond or what happens to them when they get in here, in a way that if I have this whole planned out story and everything, it you know, I don't get that as a game master. That's purely selfish me as a game master. But
You're speaking
I
my
also
language, man. Yeah,
I also
that's what.
think it's a lot of fun. I think it's a lot of fun for the players too, because they, like they don't generally know what's coming anyway. Um, but it really, yeah, I think it's fun for them just because it also, if it's really random, it creates an opportunity for you to bring in all kinds of stuff that maybe you didn't think about, and so they weren't expecting.
Yes. And I tried to split the difference essentially with it with
Yeah.
this thing. Like you can cook with this at the table I have. Like you can roll, all right, what is this next room, right? Roll a d6.
Hmm.
Or who's in
Hmm.
this next room, roll a d6.
Yeah.
And and again, roll a d20 first to figure out which player's chart you're gonna
Yeah.
pull from.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
suddenly it's like, oh, you know this guy. It's the dude who makes the weird magical inventions that explode sometimes. What's he doing down here?
Why
Research,
is
I
he
don't
in
know.
here?
But
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't, and as the game master, like I didn't know he was going to be there. You don't know he's going to be there, and now we're like discovering it together. We're on the
Yeah.
same page. We're like creatively
Yeah.
telling the story together.
And there's definitely a challenge to that. Like you've got to be able to think on the fly, which isn't always my my strong suit, but doing things like that kind of puts you in that headspace to begin with. And yeah, it's a lot. I think it's a lot of fun just to have those random interactions like that. But this is really, I thank you, man, for inviting me to do this. Like
Oh,
that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun, and it's a really cool tool. I can't wait to I can't wait to actually get to use it.
I appreciate it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, enjoy it with my blessing. I'm
yeah,
glad you liked it. I'm gonna go back to full screen.
sweet.
Uh,
Okay, I'm gonna get out of full screen because I'm looking across. I keep looking across at you because my camera's over here, and
yeah, I mean, I appreciate you spending time with us, and
yeah, man,
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm obviously partial to it, but
yeah, oh
you
yeah,
spend months and months making something. Sometimes it gets
oh
hard
yeah.
to see it objectively. It's either the best
No,
or the
I
worst thing ever, and there's very little in between.
I think
Uh,
it looks like a really great tool to me, man, and a lot of fun. So kudos, man. That's really good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's remind the folks at home or at the gym. I don't know where you are. Maybe you're driving right now listening to
Yeah.
this.
I hope you're not watching it. If you're driving, don't watch.
Yes, please. I had a player playing while driving on his commute recently, but yeah, and that's a different story.
How long was his commute?
It was pretty short. It was pretty. He was getting off. I mean, dedication. He got off of work and he hopped on the game late, and yeah, I mean, I didn't tell him no, but I told him to be careful.
just watch the road.
uh, oh man. So where can the folks, wherever they may be, find you on the internet, and what are you bringing to the table?
So Short Rest Studios on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. Short Rest Studios. And shortreststudios.com is my website, and I have, you know, uh, gaming content. I sell game accessories and that kind of thing on my website as well, minis and all kinds of stuff like that. So that's where you can find me.
Yeah. Well, appreciate you, Judd. Awesome stuff over there. I like the approach to all things. You're bringing the positivity and the fun, and you're focused on the right stuff.
Well, that's what I'm trying to do, man. So I appreciate that. It's
Yeah,
good to hear.
I see it, and I appreciate you. Thanks so
Thank you,
much.
man.
Thank you wherever you are for watching. Be kind, have fun. We'll see you next time. Bye.